In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, which features multiple very intense cold fronts bringing in some very unseasonable cold, more so what you would expect to see in late November, maybe even early December. This will bring in some storminess, so we're going to discuss that. And of course, we have our tropical storm Melissa that is expected to become a major hurricane, category 4, probably, according to the National Hurricane Center, maybe even category 5. So we need to discuss all of these things. And we're looking at the current conditions, first things first. And as you can see, we do see quite a bit of storminess here for the four corner states. Also for the south central states like Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas in there, seeing some storminess. There's a couple of low pressure centers in here. We do see general showers kind of just passing by across the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and even into the northeast here. Now, as we take a look at our tropical system, it is still expected to be a very, very slow mover, becoming a hurricane here by about the 25th, 2 days from now, so Saturday at about 8 a.m. Category 2 by 8 p.m. that day, and then Category 3 by 8 a.m. the next day. So obviously rapidly intensifying, even up to now, according to the National Hurricane Center, a Category 4 by 8 a.m. on the 27th. Very slow mover, and as you can see, extremely close to Jamaica. This would be a devastating storm for Jamaica because not only is it a really strong hurricane, there's a couple of other factors about this track that I absolutely hate to see. And it's important to note that the way the National Hurricane Center cones work is that the center of low pressure can go anywhere in the cone. Obviously, we know nobody's perfect. It can actually go outside of the cone, but they really, really don't expect that. So you have to imagine this low could go way to the north up towards Cuba. It could hit Jamaica directly. It could go in the center of where they're forecasting, which they seem to think is the most likely outcome, or it could even go further southward, which would probably be the best scenario for anybody living on any landmass at this point because it'd be less impactful for now. But the fact that Jamaica is right in the crosshairs, and more likely than not, it would either be, a little bit south, right over them, or, maybe a little further south than them, that would still be very impactful. This is just really bad because it's moving really, really slowly. So we're looking at days of direct impact by a major hurricane there to especially the southern coast of Jamaica, but really the whole thing would see devastating impacts. Pretty much everything. Heavy rain, strong, damaging, destructive winds, storm surge, all that bad stuff happening for these areas. And again, category 2, this is close enough to be causing direct impacts by 8 p.m. on the 25th, and it'll still be just south of the island on the 28th. So we're looking at, again, days of direct impact. And if it doesn't hit the island directly, it's going to be able to just keep intensifying. It's not going to weaken. So just really bad news all around. Jamaica, man, that is looking rough. Even Cuba potentially looking at impacts. And then the Cayman Islands, I've been there before. Definitely needing to watch this down the road perhaps as well. Very small island in comparison, but still a lot of people live there, and this would be extremely bad news. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our model guidance, where again, we're going to go over everything that we just discussed a minute ago. Now, first things first, we're going to kind of dive here into the upcoming storminess, and I will take us, because we just looked at what's happening this evening, I'm going to take a look at tomorrow evening, and as you can see, some storminess will be moving onshore to the Pacific Northwest, especially Oregon and Washington by tomorrow. This would probably be closer to noontime, about 1 p.m. for the West Coast, so those areas. More across the south central states like Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas. We're seeing thunderstorms and we're seeing showers as well. And then also for the Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast, tomorrow looks quite similar to today. Just these really abundant passing showers, mostly lighter to moderate in nature, but definitely impactful. As we keep going towards Saturday here on the 25th of October, we do see the Northwest continuing to expand. Some of these impacts getting a little stronger as some really intense low pressure is moving onshore. We do have snowfall across the Northwest in the heavy or the taller mountain ranges. And again, heavier rainfall for the more lower elevation regions. Maybe a couple of leftover passing showers still for this northeast corner. And then the south central states still dealing with quite a bit of storminess here across these areas. As we keep going towards Sunday on the 26th of October, we do see the northwest here again. Same story, really. Mountains seeing snowfall, other areas seeing heavier rainfall. This pocket of storms that was kind of just anchored in for the south central states has began to move kind of eastward here, now impacting more of the deeper south and areas along the Mississippi River. That's kind of the area that we're watching for on Sunday to be being impacted by this system. As we keep going towards Monday here on October 27th, we see this weaker low now kind of stationed over the southeast or just offshore of it. So we're seeing the Carolinas, surrounding areas. This could become a nor'easter. It definitely has the potential to be a bit of a coastal storm and intensify for these areas, and we're going to be watching for that rather closely. Still some precipitation for the northwest, but really most of it has expanded and moved towards the north central states like the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas here, seeing heavier showers and thunderstorms as a result of this passing area of rainfall. By Tuesday afternoon, we could see this coastal low does get going. It's just a bit too far offshore, and it doesn't become the most intense storm in the world. So if it's well offshore like this, we would probably see less in the way of windy impacts, but still lows can be quite broad, and in this case we're still seeing pretty heavy rainfall for Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So still an impactful system in a way, again, but you wouldn't see the worst of the direct impacts if it's that far offshore. And given that this is 5 days out, there's definitely time for that to trend westward, and we'll be watching for that very, very closely. Now, by the time we're reaching Tuesday the 28th, we do see that there is a trough in the east now, and there is a ridge building in the west, and a lot of this precipitation is being pushed and squeezed to the north. Heavier snowfall on that Canadian side of things, and heavier rainfall on the more U.S. side of things, and then a lot of showers, a lot of rain showers in the east within this trough taking place. Again, that's Tuesday the 28th. By Wednesday, here on the 29th, we see that there's another coastal low that wants to get going nearby the mid-Atlantic. And now we're seeing rainfall up and down the east coast, sort of as a result of this. And this low pressure is pretty broad. When we look at these black rings, I know there's so many lines all over the place. You have the state lines, the red lines, which is your geopotential height. And then we have the black lines, the smaller ones, and that's going to be your pressure. We can see that the lowest pressure is actually an elongated area. So even though the center is down here, we have pretty low pressure up and down that mid-Atlantic kind of offshore area. So that's why we're seeing these impacts stretched similarly to how the low pressure area is stretched. As we keep going towards Thursday here on the 30th, we're still rather cool in the east, although that trough is lifting off. We do see this coastal low now nearby Maine, so the northeast is seeing the worst of the impacts by Thursday the 30th. As we keep going towards Friday the 31st, we continue to see a ridge in the west, trough in the east pattern. So again, cooler than normal for most of the central and eastern states. And even though the blues don't extend down into the deep south, what you're really looking for is dips, because that doesn't really indicate cooler or warmer weather. That's more so trying to predict the freezing line, which works a lot better in the wintertime, honestly, because the freezing line is obviously way up to the north here compared to this blue line that's way down here. But if you're seeing dips, you're seeing cooler weather than the areas that are ridging, which is going to be out west. So again, these areas should be seeing similar temperatures along this line. So areas of the Pacific Northwest, you know, you got to translate the elevation as well. This is for surface temperatures. But that could be quite similar to areas much further south in the east, is what that red and blue lines are indicating. As we keep going towards Saturday here on November 1st, we're seeing a much cooler day again, something along these lines. Trough in the east, ridge in the west, but much drier. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown in the activity. Sunday the 2nd here, it is well offshore, but it looks like some more lower pressure is trying to get going offshore of the east coast. This looks like it would be too far offshore. Again, this is now 10 days out, so there's certainly plenty of time for any changes. This could go away, or it could get worse, or it could be east or west or north or south. There's a lot of changes that can occur in that type of time frame. But we're seeing the signal for some coastal systems. This is, I think, the third one. So I really want to take note of that. There is multiple coastal storms throughout these model runs that we're seeing today. Again, the northwest and southwest of Canada is continuing to see activity kind of flourishing in that area. By the 2nd, also Monday the 3rd, still seeing that. We do end up in a ridge in the east, trough in the west briefly. And then we get another trough moving into the east here, as you can see, where we're kind of bowing out to the north there over the west, and then we're seeing that troughing action in the east here. And then we end things off with a rather stormy note out west overall. As we take a look at the total precipitation, we can see that a lot of the northwest, even some of the southwest, is seeing quite a bit of precipitation. And then in the east, these models have sort of began to suggest that maybe more of the deep south central and southeastern states are going to see a majority of our precipitation moving forward. And time will tell on that, but that is the current kind of guidance that we're getting in here. Again, looking at the anomalies, that west coast area is above average, and so is, for the most part, this deeper south central and southeast area. But the north central and northeast is a little bit drier than the southern counterparts. And that is kind of the theme and the trend here that we're seeing from the models. Taking a look here at the total snowfall, the mountainous west does phenomenal. Yesterday's model runs featured little to no snowfall over the Sierra Nevada mountains, and we have seen that kind of make a comeback here. Then the mountainous northeast is even seeing some flakes flying, maybe even a dusting up there by the time we're reaching the first week of November. So, yeah, things are looking snowier and snowier with every run. The temperatures here, the European model is a little bit less aggressive with it than the GFS model is. So we're going to show both, and we're starting out with the European model. As you can see, we have cooler air in the east, and that is going to last through the weekend. Even beyond here, as we're reaching Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, even another round of it. So really, I haven't seen much in the way of warmer conditions in the east until November 5th on these model runs. From now till November 5th, November 5th is the first day that I'm seeing the oranges and reds, at least along the east coast. So that is a obviously very extended period of cooler air in the east, to say the least. And as we keep going, it looks like more cold air kind of rebounds pretty immediately. We see maybe 1 or 2 days of warmth and then back to the cooler air again. So, yeah, looking really chilly according to the models. GFS model here, again, going to be a little bit more aggressive with it. That cooler air lasts for days and days and days. Basically, we've already seen an Arctic blast move this colder air in. A second one moves in around the 30th, 31st, and it never really has a break in between these two air masses. There is no warmer air in between them, so it feels like it just kind of continues. Then we even see the third one move in with little to no, I would say, resistance from warmth. So we end up just seeing cooler temperatures on this model run basically from now through the end of the model run on the 8th. So about 15, 16 days. I mean, that is absolutely insane to see from these models. Now, just like yesterday, I want to go over kind of the spaghetti model guidance where we still have some discrepancy. There's a couple of models like the GFS model, which has just been really struggling at times and been an extreme outlier with this storm. Shows an almost direct northward path. Remember the cone we were looking at earlier? This model has this system going directly north into Haiti and then kind of back out east out to sea. If this ends up happening, I will give major credit to the GFS model, but the rest of the models basically have this thing going around or underneath Jamaica and then suddenly kind of doing a U-turn back almost directly to the north, which is sort of a worst case scenario. We get Jamaica with a really bad extended time period hit, and then we basically see this thing slam into eastern Cuba as well. And then maybe on some of these models, we even see some impacts to Bermuda. So this is just a really impactful one. It looks to be a very major system. And speaking of that, let's take a look at the intensity guidance, where all but the GFS model doesn't even get this thing to category 1 hurricane status until over 5 days from now, which is definitely an extreme outlier there. Outside of that model, every single other one gets us to right around category 3 status. And the only one I'm questioning is this gray one here, which is the ships model, which is basically getting us there around the 5-day mark. But every single other one is at least category 3. And the vast majority are still over category 4 status with models like the HAFSA and B models, which are 2 hurricane models, and then also the Google DeepMind model as well, in that kind of dashed pink, one of the more intense models as well. The HWRF is also a hurricane model, and that one gets us to category 4. So really, the National Hurricane Center, that's that black line, their forecast gets us right to fringe category 3, 4 status, and then just kind of stays right underneath it. But it's certainly possible that we do cross over that line, and they have us awfully close to it anyway. Definitely all going to be things that we're thinking about moving forward. With all of this stuff being said, be sure to subscribe because we upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.